I think that the term that most commonly comes to mind for me and when I think about family mediation is humbling. And part of the reason for that is you wonder why it's so hard to sell what we're trying to sell to parents. What actually are we asking of them? We're asking them to consider, hey, how about having the simple and inexpensive process instead of the very complicated and expensive process? How about having the process where you can put your energy into creating a better future rather than one where you put your energy into staying mired in an ugly past? How about choosing a process where you can live in the security of making your own decisions instead of a process where you live in fear because you've handed decision making over to others and you now are living in this adversarial system? And most important, how about a process that begins by saving your children and through that you can save yourself, as opposed to the one that begins by destroying your children and through that you destroy yourself? So if we did a better job of pointing this out to parents, you wonder, gee, why is it so hard to get people to say, you know what, I would really like to have less expensive, less complicated. I'd like to have the chance to live in the future. I'd like to have the security of making my own decisions, and I'd like to save my kids and save myself. And in defense of mediators and other family law professionals who have a tough time selling this message sometimes until they work with parents for a while, I would say that there's a good reason. And the reason is that the bad divorce has a much better marketing machine behind it than the good divorce. People have seen how their parents' divorces went. They see how it's portrayed on TV. They know the advice they get from their angry cousin who's in the 10th year of his horrible divorce. They get this horrible advice from coworkers. Sometimes the grandparents are thinking that violently confrontational and adversarial divorce is the way to go. And sometimes the new love interest or new spouse can all add to it. So society, I think, virtually everything that society teaches to the public about what divorce is wrong. Virtually everything is wrong. So what does that mean? I think it means that sometimes it's going to take a period of re-education, and it's going to take some marinating in these new ideas before we finally get it. These are, yes, they're manifestly better ideas. They are manifestly logical, and they are manifestly new. They are manifestly foreign to everything that we've been taught before. On the little two-page memo that we have to mediators on how we believe they can improve mediations by having the parents do the work on the Up to Parents website in divorces or in paternity cases on Proud to Parent beforehand, we point out, look at these paradigm shifts we're asking parents to make, beginning with, gee, maybe this isn't really a competition. Maybe this is the ultimate call to cooperation. Maybe this isn't something where our legal rights are so important as really our love for our children. But actually, the Up to Parents website and its sister sites are being used in a lot of contexts. Co-parenting educators, some courts send, as we think they should, all parents to the resources. Guardians ad litem and others are using it, parenting coordinators, but we actually developed it as a tool for mediation. What could we have parents do before they came in that got this transition underway, that got this new thinking underway? And that's what I want to encourage you to think about. In our practice, now think about this, in our practice, in about 10 or 15 minutes of just an introductory phone call to each parent, and of course we also talk to the attorneys beforehand, but we have a very brief conversation with each parent where we just make sure we have their contact information, and then we invite them to get started with this work, and then we send a follow-up email. In just that 5 or 10 or 15 minutes of work, we launch 15 to 25 hours of combined work by these parents in looking at the new way of seeing the challenge that actually lies before them. Rather than have parents come in cold and try to sell these ideas where there's been no prior exposure to them and no opportunity for them to think of it separately and away from this emotional experience of sitting down with their co-parent that maybe they've had a prolonged period of conflict with, this is so much more effective. So the message I want to give you today is about the few steps that you can take to learn how to use these tools so that your clients in mediation will be coming to you much more prepared to reach great agreements and to succeed in implementing those agreements.